This is the story of Stephen Hawking, one of the most brilliant minds of our time. Trapped in a body that refused to cooperate. Imagine a young boy confined to a wheelchair, his voice rendered silent by a disease, yet his mind traversing the universe, exploring black holes and bending time. That was Stephen Hawking, not merely a scientist, but a symbol of perseverance, intellectual brilliance, and cosmic curiosity. This is the full story of how a boy born during the Second World War grew into one of the most celebrated scientific minds of our age. His life was not just about equations, but about the human spirit's refusal to be defined by limitations. Stephen William Hawking was born on January 8, 1942, exactly 300 years after the death of Galileo Galilei, a coincidence he often joked about. His parents, Frank and Isabel Hawking, were both academics. Frank was a tropical medicine researcher, and Isabel had studied philosophy, politics, and economics at Oxford. Despite their intellect, the Hawkings lived modestly in a rather chaotic house in St. Albans, England. Stephen was a curious child. Though not an outstanding student initially, he was deeply inquisitive. At St. Albans School, he was known for building model airplanes, playing board games he created, and having a fascination with how things worked. His brilliance was more evident in independent thought than in traditional academics. In 1959, at the age of 17, Stephen won a scholarship to study physics at University College, Oxford. He found the work easy and sometimes unchallenging. It was at Cambridge, where he pursued his PhD in cosmology under Dennis Shaw, that his true potential began to shine. It was during his time at Cambridge that the first signs of motor neuron disease appeared. In 1963, shortly after his 21st birthday, Stephen was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis (ALS). Doctors gave him 2 years to live. The diagnosis was devastating. Stephen withdrew into depression, questioning the purpose of continuing. But life had more in store. He met Jane Weil, a young language student who would later become his wife. Their relationship gave him a new reason to live. Jane's optimism and faith contrasted Stephen's scientific skepticism, yet their bond grew strong. As Stephen's physical condition deteriorated, his mind soared. He began working on the singularity theorems with Roger Penrose, which suggested that the universe began from a singular point, a concept that helped lay the foundation for the Big Bang theory. By the mid-1970s, Hawking's body was nearly paralyzed, but his mind was on fire. He proposed that black holes are not entirely black, but emit radiation, now known as Hawking radiation. This discovery was groundbreaking because it combined quantum mechanics, general relativity, and thermodynamics. Unable to write or speak, Stephen relied on collaborators and students to communicate after losing his voice due to a tracheotomy. In 1985, he began using a speech-generating device that gave him his iconic computerized voice. That voice became synonymous with intellectual prowess. In 1988, Stephen published A Brief History of Time, initially written for non-scientists. The book explained the origin and fate of the universe in accessible terms. Despite being considered the most unread bestseller, it sold over 25 million copies and made Hawking a global celebrity. His ability to explain complex ideas with humor and clarity won him admirers across the world. He appeared on television shows like The Simpsons, Star Trek, and The Big Bang Theory, often playing himself the physicist who could outwit anyone, even Einstein. Stephen's later years were marked by an increasing engagement with philosophical and social questions. He questioned the need for a God in the creation of the universe, sparking debates worldwide. He warned about the dangers of artificial intelligence and unchecked human expansion. Though he traveled, lectured, and inspired. He once said, "Although I cannot move and I have to speak through a computer, in my mind, I am free." His life became a testament to the power of thought and imagination. Stephen's personal life was complex. His marriage with Jane eventually ended after decades of caregiving and strain. He later married Elaine Mason, one of his nurses, though that too ended in divorce. Despite his fame, Stephen was not immune to criticism. Some accused him of being difficult or egotistical, but even his detractors admired his genius. He remained committed to his children Robert, Lucy, and Timothy, and encouraged young scientists to question everything. Stephen Hawking passed away on March 14, 2080, the birthday of Albert Einstein, at the age of 76. He had lived more than 5 decades longer than doctors predicted. World leaders, scientists, and ordinary people mourned his death. His ashes were interred at Westminster Abbey next to Isaac Newton and Charles Darwin. On his memorial plaque is a formula he considered his greatest achievement, the equation for Hawking radiation. His final message, that the universe is not only stranger than we imagine, but stranger than we can imagine. Stephen Hawking's life is a paradox, a man trapped in a failing body who soared through the cosmos. He redefined what it means to be alive, to think, and to dream. He taught us that limitations are often the birthplace of greatness. Dottie once said, "Remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet." And in doing so, he showed humanity how to find light even in the darkest black hole today. Stephen Hawking's legacy lives on in science, in literature, and in the hearts of those who dare to ask big questions. His journey reminds us that the universe is vast, but the human spirit is vaster still. From the lecture halls of Cambridge to the event horizons of black holes, Hawking's mind reshaped our understanding of time, space, and ourselves. His story is not just about physics, it's about the courage to think beyond limit. Thank you. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who needs a reminder that even against the odds, the mind can reach beyond the stars. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories of resilience, genius, and